Okay. All right, Austin. Thanks for meeting with me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to
Um,
answer as well.
yeah, absolutely. I was looking over our case, and it seems like our teams kind of got us to a good deal up to this point of clause 33, 22, excuse me. And I think they've done a good job, so we don't need to talk very much about what they went over, but obviously we're at this standpoint where we're at a little bit of a disagreement, and I think we'll be able to work out a deal. So.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I think that our guys have done pretty good
Yeah.
negotiating things up to this point. But unfortunately, if we can't come to an agreement, because freedom with using the premises is really important to us.
Right.
And if we can't get to an agreement, I just don't think that we're going to be good fit.
Okay. Yeah, well, let me read so we can have a refresher of what I was left with as far as our agreement.
Cool.
And you can tell me where you're at with it. It says the tenant may use these premises only in a manner consistent with its soft goods retail operation as described herein for the term of this lease. The tenant may not assign or sublet these premises in whole or in part to any other vendor entity without prior written approval of the landlord. So where are you? What are your major holdups with?
Mainly the biggest thing is a couple things really. First, the economy goes up and down, things change. Some things sell, some things don't. And we would like to, in the unlikely event that discount doesn't perform the way that we're forecasting or hoping, we'd like to be able to sell the lease ourselves.
Yeah.
Just because an experience that I've had with other companies, the more parties involved in selling a lease, the longer it takes.
Right.
And if we're not making money, we need to get out from under the thumb as soon as possible. So that's something that we definitely need, as well as we're not 100% against the clause that you guys have put out, but if we've got a product that's selling well, we want to be able to bring in a complementary vendor. We want to be in stores, other stores we use about a fourth of the store,
Right.
and we sublet that to different vendors that kind of complement the things that we sell. And it kind of just helps bring in brand names, which is going to help them all. It helps our company, helps both parties, and that's just something that we really want to do. As well as we're a company, we have over 200 stores. We know what we're doing. We're in the business.
Absolutely. That's why we want you.
Yeah, and because of that, the company's saying, I'm sure my reps told you it earlier, but we believe that the lion gets the lion's share, right? And with that, we also like to push things out nationally, but before we do it nationally, we do it by region. So if we want to test out a new product, introduce something new that's maybe strays a little bit from the soft goods and bring it into discount, we may want to test it in this store before we launch it out nationally. That we're talking tens of millions of dollars. If we launch it nationally, if it doesn't work, better to find out with one store than the other 199 stores that we've got. So that's kind of what we're sitting at right now.
Well, to me, it sounds like our interests are similar. Like we both want this mall and discount to perform well. I have to represent the satellite tenants that we're going to have and try to represent you and make sure that this works out for everyone. Have you come prepared with a clause that might be a little bit more in the middle for us, or?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of took a few things from your clause and from ours and kind of mashed it up. Just tell me what you think. I think that if we can agree to get a fourth of the store that we can use as we see fit for subletting purposes for other vendors that are complementary to our products, and if we can get the fact that we sell the lease and we can kind of test out some products that are maybe just a little bit out of the soft goods range, then I think that we can come to an agreement.
Will you repeat that second part? So, fourth of the store for subletting, and then what was the?
For complementary goods.
Okay.
And then if we have control over, if we need to sell the lease, so we're the ones that sell the lease. And the last thing is just kind of having that flexibility to test some goods that kind of fall just a little bit out of the soft goods range.
Okay. So our primary concerns and holdups with this whole clause 22 is because of our ability to get satellite tenants and their fear of the competition that you're going to bring if we do give you that extra leniency with the consumer goods, and also the competition between us with finding those satellite tenants if you do have that subleasing ability. So one thing that we know that you probably know is that the clause that y'all presented initially would not ever work for us, and I'd be surprised if it works for very many other of your locations. But we are prepared to change a couple things about it. Our concern is right now financing. We both need this financing to come through, and that means that this clause is going to have to read well for our finance team. And what I was looking at was that the tenants, the satellite tenants that aren't you, will have a lease that lasts about 3 to 10 years.
Okay.
And then our financing will only last about 10 years. So what we were looking to do is have a clause that read that we would give you, we would stick with our initial clause of not allowing the subleasing or the assignment changes for that first 10 years. And then after that 10 years, we would be able to offer you the half of the store for subletting, and then that freedom with the trying out other consumer goods. Because at that point, we'll be established, we'll have the foot traffic, we'll not need the financing anymore. And I think that would work out for both of us.
I'll tell you what. I think 10 years is too long.
Okay.
If we can agree that we can take a fourth of the store and use it for subletting as we see fit, then, because I'm assuming you're concerned about maybe direct competition.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. If we can get a fourth of that store that we can use as we see fit for subletting to complementary vendors and things like that, I will keep you personally in the loop, in the sense that you and I can sit down with the vendor, and if you feel that whatever the vendors bring into the table is going to be something that's in direct competition with the satellite, we'll hash it out, and if it doesn't look like it's going to work, then we'll find a different vendor. Because we as Discount, we don't want to put the little guys out of business. I mean, we started out as a little guy, everyone does. And we understand, and we want to play fair in the sense that if we sell these things that other satellites are selling, or it's in direct competition and it pushes these guys out, that's going to make it so you guys get less money because you've got to make rent from them. And if you guys make less money and somehow the mall goes under, we go under with it. We understand that. So if we can agree to that fourth of the premises being used for subletting, and keeping you personally in the loop if you want, or it could be somebody else on your team, then I think that we can come to a deal on that portion of the agreement.
Okay, and that would be immediately.
Yeah.
Our primary concern is getting these satellite tenants initially. So because we don't have established foot traffic yet, we need to make sure that these boutiques and other satellite tenants feel that it will be a good place for them. So I'd be willing to make a similar deal to that, but not on immediate terms, because I'd like to be able to establish the mall as a place where people do come and is a popular place before we allow you to have that direct competition to them. But I do love the seat on the for me to be able to be involved in the.
So what time frame are you thinking? Because I mentioned earlier that we are testing some new products out, and we like to do that regionally before we go nationally.
Absolutely.
How does 2 years sound? Because we are working with some things that we'd really like to test out in 2 years, and we think that this mall would be a perfect test site.
I think 2 years will be a little bit soon because our leasing contracts usually start at 3 for the satellite tenants. We could do 5. But then we would sign most of these satellite tenants to about a 5-year lease. And then after that, I'm confident that we'd have no issue signing new people because we'll be established and well known as a place to go.
You know, um, tell you what, if we can make it to split the difference, we can get to 3.5 years because there's some things that we really think are going to boost discount, and it's just going to bring more foot traffic into the mall. If we can do 3.5 years, along with the other terms that we've talked about, we've got a deal.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
perfect. Thanks, Evan.
That's awesome.